Hi everyone, my name is Mihaela Mihut. I am a proud lifetime member of the Actor Studio and an international acting coach. I am so thrilled to have you join me on Hey Stella podcast and celebrate life and the professionals who must tackle life like no others, the actors. They
All
must live it.
right.
Hi, good morning. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Mia. Good morning. Whatever time it is.
Imagine that I don't know you. So if I would
Okay.
ask you the question, tell me who you are, beginning with the pronunciation of your name, which is very important because I have problems with people mispronouncing my name.
Mm.
See who you are. If this is the only introduction that you are given to the world, let's say, you are on the big world stage and you're given an introduction to let the world know who you are, what would that be?
Well, I would first stop with hello, my name is Jason Lafleur. I myself am someone who thrives on connecting to people. I'm a very emotional person. I'm very in touch with my emotions, and I'm very childlike. So that is me in a nutshell. I'm just a big kid. I'm a big kid at heart. I look at everybody as people. So to me, I can learn from anybody who comes across me, anybody I meet, anybody I talk to. I can learn, and then I can use the experiences that I get and observing people when they speak to me, when they tell me things, whatever it could be. It could be as a bartender for the last 10 years. I've had people come in and tell me very personal things within the first 5 minutes of meeting them. It could be something that really, truly affected them the moment before. It's all perfect when it comes to acting because it's like the moment before they walked into that bar, something happened to them. And now I'm seeing that moment. That's the interesting moment for any actor to show is that moment that that person shows me when they walk in and they just say whatever they're feeling. It's amazing to watch people do that. And so I'm just like I'm a sponge. I just soak up what I see and I just internalize it. I think about it. I imagine myself in their scenario. And that's when a lot of times I'll actually end up being very empathetic towards someone. And I'll end up, there's one story in particular that I have where a gentleman came into the bar and is immediately, I could tell his energy was very low. And he came in and told me that he just found out he himself was a former vet and his brother was a vet and his brother had just committed suicide. And he was very much just so vulnerable in that moment. And he didn't care who was around him or what they were seeing. And through talking to him, I got so emotional. Even the next day when I told him the story, I still, because his raw emotion was so real that I couldn't let go of it myself. It affected me in such a way. So I just went on a tangent when you asked me, who am I?
No, I just so appreciate this very much because I think one of the things that is so important for a great actor as I know and I consider you to be one of the, I always use the word powerful, but I don't use it with other people. You know, I have words I know that I'm always like very in awe of the actors that I know and who are not commercially successful, but in my eyes, they are already successful. And that's something that I want to talk to a little bit about later. But when it comes to you, I've known you now, Jason, as my colleague. I've known you as the actor to go to who will always bring that which you just described in your introduction. I tend to be a little bit selfish when I go into my mode of the teacher because I have to save my ass as a teacher. When somebody said, I want you to bring actors to the classes of School of Visual Arts, or I need you to bring actors to the summer program, or I need you to bring actors. I know so many actors. The one person that I call all the time is you, Jason, because every time you come to any of those engagements, events, you bring that which is personal to you, which you just described, your empathy as a human being, and your want to observe and your caring and kindness to know about people is the most quality that actors have, and is the quality that we need to have in the freaking world by everyone right now, not just by actors like you. And people don't understand that. So no, you did not go too far.
I mean, it's so true. One of the biggest things that's helped me through this time that we're going through right now, when everyone is so divided. Obviously, I'm a human. I have my own thoughts. I have my own opinions. But at the same time, one thing that I pride myself that I've worked on. It wasn't something that I always did, but I've worked on this consciously to understand the other person. Maybe I don't like it. Maybe I despise what they did, but I have to know why. Where did that decision of theirs start? Where did it come from? You know, everyone is a product of their environment. Everyone's a product of what now everyone's a product of social media. It's like we are heavily influenced with everything. And instead of getting just angry at someone, getting mad, not understanding them, take the time to get them, because everybody is dimensional. Everyone has so many sides to them.
You know, this is, again, I know I keep trying to want to make this be understood. The emotional and social education that you get and you must continue to do as an actor is so needed in the world right now. You know, you talk about the education that everybody gets in school, the education with manuals and all the stupid things that nobody cares about when you grow up as an adult. But the education that we as actors must drop into in order to be able to portray and to not judge these characters, because you're speaking, every time you're saying something that has to do with your humanity, to me it's on the same level, and
it's the same thing. Because a great actor, and Miha, I'm just saying things that you have said to me, and this is why I love your teachings. I love the way you approach acting. It makes sense to me, and I really connect with it, because it's all about the humanity. It's about showing what real people look like and not what we see out in the world. Show the ugly side, but then show the super soft, delicate side of you, where it's like, oh, but that person has that side too, but I hate them so much. And it's like, you know, I always go back to the, you know, Hitler was like a great grandfather, or he had like grandchildren and nieces, and he was great to them.
Yeah.
And no one wants to think about, like, as soon as I say Hitler, it's like, oh my God, he's glorifying. I'm not glorifying. I'm just saying there was a part of him that you might have seen completely separated from everything else. And you would have been like, oh, this is just like a nice guy playing with his.
And I think only then, by allowing yourself to even say what you just said, by allowing to see that sweet side that his grandchildren or his close family saw, that's when you start to understand the bad part and all the horrible things that he did. But if you're going, no, I'm judging, he did horrible things, there's no way that I'm going to put him in the same sentence with the word sweet.
Yes.
I'm going to do that. That's when it's like the fear is stopping you from the information that you need as a human being to understand the complexity, the dynamics, like you said, of any of us. We're not one-sided people. And this, you know, everybody's like, Miha, you're so generous, you're so giving. Wait till you see the other side. Wait for the other side when that comes out. Because have I learned how to control it more as I grow older? Yes. Have I learned that side, when it comes out, it hurts people, therefore I'm going to be a little bit more diminished in my behavior? But if it needs to come out, I just suggest that you just start running from the beginning. You know, it's not that I'm saying here, oh my God, this is what I do, and humanity. And you said it. I don't mean humanity as the only great humanity. I meant it the way you just said it. You can do this interview by yourself.
I am a sponge, and Miha, I've learned so much from you in our time.
Going back, this is beautiful. You said who you were. Can I just ask, Lafleur, how do you pronounce it?
I say it, I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm probably not even saying it the real way Quebecois would say, but it's Lafleur is how I say it, Lafleur.
But it's French. It sounds French.
It is French Canadian. Like I said, I grew up in Western Massachusetts, and my grandfather, his side of the family was from Quebec. So that's where we get our French Canadian, whatever it is.
You have a middle name, Jason, which I never knew.
Yes, it is actually my dad's name. It's Martin. So it is Jason Martin Lafleur.
This is so beautiful. Do you know why I say that? Because I think it's so important, the names that they were given to us, because they have to do with the roots. And the second question is, of Stanislavski, because I'm using the questions of Stanislavski. So no, people out there, I'm not copying James Lipton. And even if I were, it's okay.
Much prettier than James Lipton, okay?
I don't know if it's a compliment.
It doesn't sound like it's a compliment, but it is.
The God rest his soul. Don't make me say something. Where do you come from outside of just the location that you've explained to us? Who are your people?
Oh, so I have a great family. I'm a very family-oriented person. So I have my mom and dad, Marty. We call him Marty and Melissa. I can't say enough about my mom and dad. I wouldn't be the person and have the morals I have and be the person I am if it wasn't for my mom and dad. They both gave me like incredible parts of themselves, and they made me like this cool in between of the both of them. And I can't thank my parents enough for everything they've done for me. And then I have two older sisters who are they're just the best. We were so close growing up, and we have like 1,000 memories that we still talk about today. And we actually have just gotten so much closer in our 30s, which is interesting because they both still live in Western Mass, and I live in Brooklyn. And I've lived in Chicago. I've lived in Boston. I've moved around, but they all have kind of stayed centralized over in Western Mass. So I go back often to visit them. So my sisters and I, we got so much closer. Even through COVID, we just started to rekindle our connection, just really connect to one another, to the point where it led to like us doing a podcast together where we love scary movies. So we started a podcast called Scary Yes Please. So we find scary movies we've never seen, and we watch them, and then we recreate that atmosphere of like walking out of the actual theater and being in the lobby and talking about the movie and being all like excited about it and hearing that scattered like, oh, and this part and that part. And so we started that. So we took a little break for the summer, but it's really fun. We're getting ready to start back up in October and give a little bit of a background about us, like let people know who we are and why we are the way we are, and our banter and all of our inside jokes.
Speaking of the podcast, I haven't listened to it. So the first episodes that you guys have done, where are they?
So you can find them on Podbean.
Good.
Yep. So Podbean, or we actually have a website called scaryyesplease.com, and it has a little bio about us and has all of our podcast episodes on that page as well. Being at a different stage in life, I'm their little brother. And I am a little brother. Like I said, I'm a big kid. So I still do some of my annoying things just to get under their skin. I am very fortunate as a male growing up in today's world. I was so fortunate to have the toughness from my father, but then get that other side of it from my mom and my sisters. Because they taught me, I think they, at a very young age, allowed me to be emotional. They allowed me to be in touch with there's so many different types of community. The community spectrum is so large. I'm just going to say my feminine side. I'm definitely more in touch with it because I had my two older sisters and my mom. My dad was working a lot. So it was a lot of time around my sisters. And I truly believe that they helped me connect to that other side of me. So I'm not just this, physical, I'm just going to raise my voice and that's going to be how I get my point across. Instead, I really believe that allowed me to settle down, and it's helped me in life a lot having that.
That's, I think, what made me just see the power that you have as an actor from the very beginning when we first met years ago, was that what you just described. Usually when actors of the way that they look, if they look similarly to you, like the first impression that you get of a physical someone is, oh, there's Jason, he's this, macho, rough guy. He can be playing all these characters that assume toughness and everything else. So you kind of expect that, because that has so much to do with what you said with your family and the way that they've accepted and embraced all of who you are. And
yeah.
Saw you in class, and I remember there was one direction, just a small direction, when you were working with, I can't believe he's gone.
Bill.
Yeah.
Yes.
God bless his soul in peace. I'm still
love Bill.
That video that I still have of you guys is still moving.
Oh, I get chills thinking about that, Mia. I get chills.
But it was just kind of giving you, Jason, permission to be all of the other things that you described you were. Yeah. And then you just went for it. And even to this day, it doesn't matter how many times I see that. I just hope it's so powerful, and you were so powerful because you were not afraid to be vulnerable in a way that was not expected of you because of the way that you appear to be. So then when you unveil that persona, the public persona, and you let us see you the same way that your sisters know you, the same way that you were, or maybe even more. I don't know, because sometimes we even allow ourselves to be more when acting than when we do with people.
It's true. It's true.
It just kind of made my veins I became aware of the blood circulating through my.
Oh, yeah. What a good feeling.
And you can't forget that. So even if I'm going to be when I'm going to be, I hope in 100 years from now, on my deathbed, the moments I tell people that you might not have memories or names of people as you get older, but the memories of the moment will just flash, as some people describe that all the time. And I think that's going to be one of the most important at the top. That powerful performance that you gave very in the beginning when I met you, that will stay with me for the rest of my life, and even when I probably take my last breath. It was that powerful. So I wanted to go now to ask, because I've seen you spoke about the podcast, which I think is bravo, and you're doing it with the family. Oh my God, that is such a gift to have the family and to have your sister want to do something, or to have something that you guys share. And
yes.
Public. It's a gift. So cherish it, take it, don't stop doing it. So keep doing it. And then I'll give you one horror films, which I was in to watch.
That's the thing. We've seen so many that we're looking for people to give us, like, what movie scared you, and let us watch it, and then we'll talk about it.
Jason, I'll give you one. The director was so bad. I say it to this day. He wipes me off of his social media because I follow him, and I go, bad directing. You abused me. You verbally abused me because you do not know your art. And he blocks me. I'm exaggerating. I don't do that.
You had me going. I thought for sure you actually did that. I was like, wow.
Jason, that's all that I want to say and do, but I'm not. I was looking at LinkedIn. There were these things that were popping up, and somebody just mentioned something about Elia Kazan, the director, the famous director who himself was an actor, because I think the way that you're kind of explaining yourself as an actor, and I did not see that before, I have to say, Jason, but I'm seeing the growth in you since the last time that we've seen each other, which was when the times were so-called normal. And you know what I'm seeing? Another perspective from you. You know what that is?
What?
A director's perspective.
Oh. It's funny you say that, because I'm actually getting ready to fixing this room I'm in to be a recording room, because I started doing voiceover work. I am looking to create my own content for YouTube, and I would like to have a YouTube channel where I can connect to people. Like, that's, it is the biggest thing for me, just to connect with people. I really thrive on it. It makes me feel like a person when I can connect to people. So I want to create, and I've been slowly gathering the equipment so I can do my own thing and make my own content.
The reason why I'm bringing up Elia Kazan is because I never knew until reading this article that he was also an actor for 8 years. So he talks about this interview, somebody talks about him, and they said, you know, the reason why he was called, given the title of, he's an actor's director. He's an actor's director, and what does that mean? That he understands the process, he understands the creative process, because he himself was involved with the group theater from the Actor Studio. Before the Actor Studio was found, there was the group theater. So he was an actor for 8 years, and knew how to take the material subjects, which are the human being actors, which are you people, the extraordinary professionals who deal with life the most. And of course, that you knowing how to do that, have to share it and create your own platform. And I'm so glad I don't have to convince you that you must do that, because you're already doing it. You're in the process of giving yourself the platform. Stop waiting for anybody else to give you that platform. You have something to say, Jason. You have something to say that is so relevant, not just for actors. Because if you were just for actors, you would be like, okay, fine. No. It's so much needed with what's happening in the world right now. Ilya Kazan was saying, I did the movies that I did without knowing at the time, but later went back and discovered that every one of them was autobiographical.
Huh.
Every one of them, when I did not think that it had anything to do with my life in the process of doing it. But it was so autobiographical. I'm saying it half Romanian, half English. So I think that particular kind of a human being is rare. And I think the group with those particular human beings is select, and I know I say select, and very few. And I think you're part of those few select who have that capacity and who is needed in the world right now to share your humanity, because you're not afraid to share it in its spectrum that goes from the nice to the bad and to the ugly and everything in between. So I'm glad to hear that you're going to be doing that.
What a tremendous compliment. Thank you.
It's true.
There was something you said. I lost my train of thought. I'm just so taken back by the compliment. I have always felt the same way too, Miha. There was a very pivotal moment in my life when I had moved to Boston to go to school. I moved back home with my parents. I was about 25, 26 now. And my dad had a job lined up for me that would have been a great job. It would have been so secure. I would have had all these things and it would have been a good thing. But I would have been in a warehouse with headphones on, near nobody, checking chemical numbers. And I looked at my dad and I was like, Dad, thank you so much for doing all this work and getting these people to want to hire me and give me a good job and make sure I have security. But I'm meant to be seen by people, Dad. I have to entertain. I have to let people see me. I'm not meant to be back here quiet in a warehouse. That's not me. So he at first was a little frustrated with me because, he himself, who worked for UPS for 32 years and grinded his body down to the bones.
And you know what else happens in that moment? Because I can understand, because my parents, they're completely from a different background than entertainment. They have nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. Well, my dad has more to do with it because he's a priest.
Yeah.
He's a preacher. So it's like going back to the priests of Dionysus. Okay, but still, didn't you find that at the same time you're kind of, by saying that, you were speaking your truth, but at the same time you're kind of saying what you do, Dad, is not important. So there's this
yes. I actually had a conversation with my mom not too long ago where I apologized to her because I reflect a lot on my actions, especially in my younger life. I constantly reflect and I like to think that I'm a very self-aware person. So I remember these conversations I had with my mom a lot. She was a career assessment person in a high school. She was a teacher's aide. She was a teacher. So I was like, I don't want to be just a teacher. I don't want to be just a UPS man. And now 20-year-old Jason had no idea how that could be very hurtful. Knowing how good of a childhood they gave me, we were not like this. We were a very mid-level family, but it was just, they gave us such good experiences that I felt so rich. My childhood was so good. But when I look at it, it was very simple. We didn't go to Disney. We didn't go to Florida. We didn't go away anywhere. We went to a cottage we had up in the mountain. And that's where we made all of our memories.
Thank God.
Exactly. It built character. And recently, definitely within the last 6 months, I was like, Ma, I was thinking about how I used to always say, I don't want to be just this job. I want more for me. Her answer actually surprised me more than me thinking of this and coming back to it years later. Her response was, that's what you want as a parent. You want your kid to want more than you. And I was like, I just did not expect that answer. And it affected me in a way that I just didn't expect. Thank you. Thank you for letting me let go of that then, because now I've faced it. I've let go of it. I've confronted that part of me that I don't like. I don't like that I said those things, but then I realized perspective is such an interesting thing. And from my perspective, I could only think that that's hurtful and that's mean. And from her perspective, she's like, we did a good job. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what's so great about performance is that it's going to mean something different to every single person. And that's what I want. I want to give that person the allowance to take my performance and take from it what you needed to take from it. What did you need to grow from that? Because I'm obviously growing by doing this. I'm automatically improving myself as a human. But now you can take that parts that you saw and apply it to what you do. And then you can reflect on yourself now and you can understand, it was just a really, really nice moment. And I never expected that answer. These are the things when you reflect on yourself, you don't understand the amount of growth you allow yourself to do. And as a performer, it helped me in life and it helps me in performance.
This is what I'm saying, Jason. It goes back to the education that you do to be part of that small circle of greats. And to me, greatness is not commercial success. Watching the greats at work, I have not seen someone great at work in a very long time. I think the last time that I saw one great giant do the work of at its greatest was Anthony Hopkins in The Father. I don't know if you saw the film.
I have not seen that.
You must see it. This is the example. Everybody involved, from Anthony Hopkins to the director, Florian Zeller, to everything else, is what to me means achieving greatness. And greatness, meaning what you just said, is having the power and having the vulnerability, both of you are qualities, to let yourself be somewhere in those two. So people sitting in the movie theater, or now sitting in the comfort of our homes because we're not going to the theater, we experience, each of us, depending on what we are and who we are, a different thing. And that's what's so brilliant. Nobody seeing that movie is going to experience the same thing following along that I did, because it was so personal to them that it became universal at first, but then it pulls at the strings of my heart, just my heart, not your heart, because you had your mom who's different than my mom. And what's so funny about it, even after Anthony Hopkins goes to do interviews on all sorts of platforms, and they ask, Sir Anthony Hopkins, that was pretty much considered to be method acting. Oh, no. Nothing against the actor studio. I'm not a method actor. And I'm sitting here watching the interview and I'm like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
He has his theoretical understanding of who he is. And he doesn't want to be associated with method acting because I think he's afraid that people misunderstand what that is. But then he goes on to explain, Florian Zeller, he's a very known French, not from Canada, French from France. He was very known there for his writing of plays. But he took a chance, and his boldness, he said, I want to adapt one of his plays that was very known, The Father, into a film, and I have in mind for it Anthony Hopkins. And all of his friends were like, okay, dude, you have in mind Anthony Hopkins? And not only that, but I want to keep the name of the character. I want to change it from the play. And I want to name it in the film, in the script, Tony, because I want Anthony Hopkins to go into his personal life with this character and take a little bit of a different approach than he's used to. And all his friends were like, okay, can we change the subject? As if, but his boldness. And then he went to say, everybody was kind of looking at me as if I was crazy. And I said to them, listen, the impossible is only impossible until it is possible. So until I ask him, until I get to his management, until I get to his agent, it's possible.
Yeah.
Until it gets impossible, and vice versa. Send the script to the agent. Anthony received it, looked at it, was blown away by it, called him up, come meet me in California. Went to California. The director is your age. And Anthony Hopkins says, yes, I love the script very much, but I don't want the name to be Anthony. I don't want the name to be my name. I don't go into the method. I'm not a method. Florian says, I'm not changing the name. So then they explained that during the whole work with him on the film, Not only did Florian, the director, call them Anthony, but he called them Little Tony.
Awesome.
Mommy, where's your mommy, Tony? And no matter how much Anthony was trying to stay on his one path that he knew how to go into characters, another door opened that he himself said, this guy, Florian, don't get me started. Who would have thought that he was going to open a different door that I didn't even know that I needed to have open? You talk about this guy who's lived his career already and was at the top of its every kind of branch in it.
Yeah.
But when you see it, I'm just curious to see what you think, and you will, knowing that you know the process of actors so much and method, you will see everything that I'm seeing in it, and you're like,
so good. One of my favorite exercises that you introduced me to when we do sense memory was getting in touch with little Jason. And that, even though I'm very childlike, I felt like that was a very strong moment for me, and I take it everywhere I go now. And I know, it's hard for me too, because the moment I think about little Jason, I get emotional. The moment I picture him, I get emotional. It doesn't matter what the emotion is. It could be happy, but it evokes a very powerful feeling within me. And that exercise that you took me through, I will never forget that moment, that day, that where I was in class, who was to my right, who was to my left. Janice was sitting to my right. And she was having a very strong reaction too. And it's that getting in touch with the smaller version of yourself opens up a world of possibilities as an adult.
Just you saying it, automatically you say little Jason, and I'm going little Miha. So those two kids, I'm imagining your younger version and my younger version, no matter where we come from and no matter the cultural background, the language that we speak, which is different, those little children put in the same sandbox playing together, they are so much more alike.
Right.
Any language than any kind of country, than any kind of borders of mask, no mask, or political right or left. Why aren't there more people like you given the opportunity to be on those bigger platforms? That little Jason, I'm so glad you brought him up, because that is the extraordinary creative gift.
Yeah.
Miha, don't be stupid. It's what you tell your actors. If they stay in a comfort zone within who they are in their process as actors, they're going to be bored. The great ones, because I'm talking about you right now. So they're going to keep digging, consider directing, having your own platform. The fact that you signed up with, I know it's like a successful commercial success, but that's important too. You signed up with a management company that's considered to be one of the best. You signed up with an agency that's considered one of the best. And it's incredible, because I don't want to be sitting around crying.
Yeah.
When I know the power that you have, and when you bring up that little creative little guy inside of you and what his capabilities are to disrupt this world for good when it's so needed right now. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up and for saying that exercise is something that it still gets you to
easily. And it's not just acting. I don't use that exercise with just acting. I use it as a person in this world. He has a better view of this world than I do. As a jaded 33-year-old, 4 or 5-year-old Jason has such a innocent, naive, pure way of looking at the world. I want to say about you, Miha, and that's why I think I connect with you so well, is that you are at your core a pure person. You are genuine. You are thoughtful. You care about people first. And then that translates into you being great when it comes to connecting with actors and getting them to that next level. I have hit some incredible points, and it's unfortunate that they all happen in a small room with no cameras rolling. But at the same time, I'm so thankful because it makes it even more special, that it's just us in that room that got to feel that.
But just so you know, Jason, those moments that were not seen at that time by cameras, because we didn't have the opportunity to have cameras, we didn't have the crew. Those were the moments that people who have the opportunity to have the crew and the cameras, those are the moments that get nominated for Oscars. Those are the moments that get nominated for Tonys, Emmys, whatever you want to think of, other European awards. Those are the moments. The only thing that was missing in our class, not the moments, those scripts of those kids, those out of high school kids who came up with scripts that were very promising. but it was you that came to them and you said, let me see what's in there. Let me see the substance. What's the essence? What the hell is happening? And even to this day, that was how many years ago? We're still like blown away. And the kids were like, no, you didn't write it. So don't give yourself too much. It was he who brought that up.
But one of the scripts that has stuck with me, and I love where it went in the moment, was the guy who loved his plants. And he was just so into his plants. And it's very comical, but it was so interesting to see how they reacted to it at the very end when I took it to a level of real sadness. I remember in the scene that it's my wife who's conflicted with me, and she is upset that I pay so much attention to these plants. And it's like I love them more than her almost. And at the end, she gets upset and she knocks one of my plants over. And it was very funny up until that moment.
Jason, my heart broke at that moment.
It was so interesting to see where it went. And I didn't even expect myself to go to it. It was actually the thing that sent me to that level was I let out a scream. All the energy in me just came out. And then it all of a sudden was like, it allowed me to let all the other energy in. And I started crying, held this plant like it was a person. And I remember for a quick second before I did any of it, I'm like, this feels weird. And then I stopped thinking about how it felt and I just let it happen. And then afterwards, I look up and I see everyone kind of just in awe, just staring at me now. Instead of laughing how they were, now they're just staring at me. And it was silent.
That's what it is. You can't even applaud. You can't even do anything with such a moment. But the reason why that moment was so powerful is because you did not know that it was going to happen. You went and you worked moment to moment, which is another... You're understanding the process, and you let us all experience the uncertainty of where you're going as a human being when we are all experiencing that as humans, not as actors in everyday life, but we don't know because we're not taking the time to say, oh, I wonder what I'm experiencing today, the uncertainty of life. It's being shown to us by somebody who has the courage like you to say, oh, it's a comedy, but I'm going to just go by moment to moment and look at this plant that my wife just put to the side to be something that's of significant. That plant represents your art. That plant represents your girlfriend. That plant represents your little creative Jason.
Yeah.
It represents your parents, your sisters. It represents everybody in your life. And of course, if somebody kicks it, you're going to allow yourself that,
Yeah.
But who does that? Few actors do that. I always say good and great, huge gap. Don't think good and great are here. Good is here. Great is over at the other side.
Real quick, I know this is going back to something you said, and I just want to clarify something. Talking about creating my own content, directing my own stuff, making my own platform. That's something that I'm doing now. I'm 33 now. I've been interested in entertaining people since I was 7 years old. And it's a lot of ups and downs and roller coaster kind of thing when it comes to momentum in this industry. One thing I will say is I've heard over the last 10 years, countless people tell me this, that I have to create my own content. You can't sit around. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm just this like very motivated person that all of a sudden was like, well, I'm going to create my own content then. It took me years to understand and to get to this change that you see in me. It took work. It took work on myself. It was a process, but that process is going to be so enjoyable at a later stage because I'll know that I worked through every step. I did the work. I didn't just hop on TikTok and get 15 million followers and now I have fame and I have no idea what to do with it. I know what it took to get there. And I know that it took me ignoring people trying to help me. It took me to understand that I need to create my own content. This is years of battling myself and waiting for someone else to do something for me. And it's a long time and every path is different. Every single path is different.
So we're talking about the coaching in the method, which is with me. That's only one of the versions that he's been working on. Don't just focus yourself on staying with one coach. And besides that, he's signing with agencies and with managers and with teachers that teach other than what I teach. So it's not just enough to say, yeah, but I'm doing my acting coach session once a month and I'm just waiting for things to happen. You just said it. No, it's work and work from different aspects all the time, because you, in order to keep that earning, of you to have this platform will never allow you to take a rest. I'm sorry to tell you.
And I don't want to rest when it comes to this. This is what makes me happy in life. I love connecting with people. I can't stress it enough. That's what makes me feel happiest in life. I heard someone say something about success the other day, and I know it's all up to you what you make of success. There's actually a tennis player that I was listening to talk, and people were asking him about, winning the Grand Slam, winning the championship, and how that's what other people want for him. That's their version of success. To him, being a professional player and playing tennis is his version of success. To me, I'm not chasing money and big contracts and being on the big screen. To me, seeing you get choked up talking about a moment that I did 4 years ago, that's success. Because I connected with you on such a level that it's still in you today.
That kid, you don't know what that kid is going to go do because of what you gave him to his play. I'm going to cry again. You don't know.
Yeah.
Be the one. We might not even know that he's going to be the one in like 10 years that's going to change the world through writing or directing, or who knows what he's going to do. I'm getting choked up because even though there were like 20 people in the class, I don't know, each one of them took something that's going to put them on a path in their life. And life is already what's important. You've given them something to take with them for their life. The success that comes out of it, the success is the journey. The journey is the success. The doing it, the not giving yourself the comfort zone to stay in, where you don't need to put yourself in situations where sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I just want to wake up in the morning and say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like I'm giving so much of myself and I'm still not having the platform that I feel sometimes I deserve.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I should have a platform and I'm not getting it. Something's wrong with me. I don't know how to get there. So I have doubts, like you said. I'm glad that you said that to people. It's not like all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, oh, well, now I'm wise. And now you know less. But the one thing that you do as you become older, you don't wait for time to do what you feel you're capable of doing. And you're pushing yourself in that direction at a rapid pace. Because you know what? This time went by so fast. Up to this time, to the year that I'm in, let me do it today rather than wait till tomorrow, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, especially with the uncertainties in the world right now. People dying from like this virus. Who would have thought, Jason, when we were meeting and hugging each other? And I love this so much. Thank you so much for bringing all the stuff. Yeah, I'm going to cut out what I had to say and I'm just going to let you talk as a monologue.
Oh, no. Yeah, I could sit here for hours talking to you easily.
Jason, I don't even say when I'm presenting, somebody asks me, who are you going to have this week? And I'm like, I have Jason, he's a colleague. And they're like, oh, he's a teacher. I'm like, yeah, he's a colleague. I don't consider you to be a student because I'm telling you, you were already in a moment of understanding who you were as Jason, the human being. There wasn't me having to say, oh, let me guide Jason to discover who you already knew. And now it makes sense that you knew because you gave us a little bit about your extraordinary parents and sisters. So that coming from something that you're so rooted in and you're still connected with, it's of such importance to anybody who is a creative human being, because that's the personal becomes universal. The more specific, the more rooted, and the more you cherish and take that gift and you share that, the more you will be understood universally. And that's what I always believe. But I have to show you something. You don't even know. I've been looking at your face for...
I have no idea. I have no idea where this is going, what you're about to show me. I don't even know.
Are you going to be able to see it if I send it to your phone?
Yeah.
Do you see who's on it?
I sure do.
Do you see the pictures on it?
Yeah. I have so many questions. Oh, Mija. You couldn't see my face, but I was just like,
oh yeah, the little class. It doesn't just stay there. You think it's just going to stay there? If I were selfish enough to say, you know what? I don't want to have anybody else feel what Jason has made me feel. I'm doing this because I'm not selfish when it comes to great work. And that great work and those great actors are very few. And honest to God, it sounds like I'm like selfless, but I'm not even selfless. I'm doing it because I know it's needed for generations to come, past me living on this planet. It's needed for you guys to stop people from killing each other. It's needed for you to be able to do what you have done in those moments that just a few of us were witnesses to. You need to do it. I've never had something that I believed in so much. And it's not about me. If you were just about me, I'd be like, who cares? I'm giving it up. I'm fine the way I am. I don't need more. But I've become so bold. Do you remember me from the actor studio? Of course, nobody responds because they think, why isn't she calling my lawyer? She's probably my rational boyfriend, Jeremy, says, honey, as a lawyer, I just want you to know, they're not going to enter you. I'm like, why not, Jeremy? Why? Because they don't know you. Yeah.
You really got me there. I know no one saw it because it's just my voice, but like I said, I'm an emotional person. I had tears rolling down my face. So I can't thank you enough, Mia, for everything you've always done for me. You've just been such a positive influence on my life, you know?
I just think that you're amazing. And I just think that you're powerful. And I know you're going to hear this. And I'm closing with what I began. Powerful work people need to see in order to give themselves an understanding that they're all okay and we're all enough. We don't have to do anything but just to try. There's no result for this little life of ours that we have, because it's little when you think of like the duration of it.
Oh yeah.
Scheme of the universe.
It's a flash.
It's a flash. But the trying to do better.
And you're not alone.
To connect with people is the most caring thing that you would want to do, and the most simple. And yet people don't do it.
They don't want to take the time to do it. It's hard to put your thoughts aside. It's hard to do that, you know, but you will just vastly grow as a human being by taking the time to listen to someone else, even if you don't like what they're saying. It's not about you being like, yeah, keep saying it. I love what you're saying. It's just hearing what they have to say. And then you can walk away from it if you don't like it. It is that simple. It is such a simple thing that you can do that makes all the difference in the world, is just connecting to somebody. And it's beautiful. Connecting with people is beautiful. It's the purest form of beauty. Getting to know someone on the inside, knowing someone's soul, knowing your own soul is the most beautiful thing that you can do in life, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of other things. Having children is beautiful. You know, falling in love is beautiful. But to me, that connection between people is what life is about.
You left me speechless again, like you did with your work. So I'm not going to try to close it.
Thank you very much for having me on your show, Miha. When you asked me to be on it, I was just letting you know that I liked your other episodes. You've turned me on to some interesting things from your other episodes, but your episodes are very interesting. And that's why I'm so proud to be part of it, because listening to you talk to the other actresses and other actors, and then hearing the things that you take into account. So whoever is listening to this, take the time to listen to the other episodes, because there is such cool information in there.
You sending me the message that you are enjoying the episodes is another thing that makes you the great actor that you are, because you may not know in the moment, again, going back to your performance and your power, that message meant to me so much more just because of the time that you delivered that. Keep doing what you're doing. I think it's just amazing and it's powerful. And I love you for being a guest. This is an amazing episode. I'm telling you, I'm just going to take myself out of it. I'll edit it. I'm going to send it back to you. And
please don't take yourself out of it, because one, you have the most angelic, sweet voice that anybody could ever listen to. One of my favorite things about listening to your show is just hearing your voice. You're so sweet. Even Jackie loves listening to your podcast just because your voice is so sweet. And once again, pure is the word that I use. Angelic, pure, genuine.
Jackie, that I appreciate her confidence in who she is as a person and as an amazing human being. I hope I get to meet her outside of the computer. But thank you for her lending you to us.
She could have done nothing to stop me from being here.
We'll keep in touch.
Thank you so much for having me.
Kisses. Thank you.
Thank you, Miha.
Jason is in a feature-length indie film coming out this fall called Art Calloway's Final Concept Album, written and directed by Greg Clark. And he has an audiobook that he narrated called The Daylight, written by Christopher Hellmeister. It is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Thank you so much for being my guest, and I hope you out there have enjoyed the episode as much as I have enjoyed having him as a guest. Thank you. Kisses, everyone.